Hello. I will read today's story to you. Because of my job, I often go on business trips, leaving my wife, who is 7 years younger, alone at home. My wife started going to the gym saying she would regain her former beautiful appearance, hired a personal trainer, and began raising a large dog at home. When I returned a month later, my wife's changes were noticeably different. In her workout clothes, it was obvious her buttocks had lifted and grown larger, and after exercising, her flushed face looked beautiful. My wife said all these changes were thanks to exercise. The next day was Sunday, so I was resting at home. The large dog my wife was raising lay on the balcony, watching me closely. It appeared my wife had brought it home during my business trip. The dog was unfriendly toward me and always seemed on the verge of biting. Yet, it was very affectionate with my wife, who sometimes hugged and kissed its head. When I approached, the dog would bare its teeth and be wary of me. "Honey, I think he's jealous," my wife said with a laugh, patting the dog's head. Hearing that, I sensed something odd. So I suggested to my wife, "What if such a big dog bites someone? I think it would be better to send this dog to someone else. Large dogs like this can be dangerous, and I've seen news about them biting children, so I'm concerned." However, my wife firmly said, "This dog is my lifeline. He completely protected me while you were away. If you send this dog away, I'll send you away too. Luna, come here." As my wife gestured, the big dog circled around her buttocks. I then saw my wife calling her personal trainer. "Don't forget you have a personal training session scheduled today," the trainer said with a laugh over the phone. "Sis, how could I forget? Today is our butt workout day. Haven't you noticed my butt has gotten bigger and firmer lately? The changes are really noticeable. There are still a few moves we haven't tried. Let's attempt them today. After the workout, it will surely be more toned and healthy." Hearing this, I felt very uncomfortable. The male trainer's tone felt flirtatious, almost perverse. Especially when it came to working out my wife's buttocks, physical contact was inevitable, and I found it hard to accept a man touching a woman's buttocks. "Should I come over to your place today?" The trainer's sudden words made me doubt my ears. My wife quickly covered the phone and replied in a low voice, "Don't come to our house. My husband is back." Then the trainer snickered, "Then come to my place." I was instantly furious. "Honey, why did you find such a trainer? Moreover, him working out that area, and a male trainer at that, is that even possible? Isn't that a part only a husband should be handling?" But my wife immediately got angry. "Honey, don't be so old-fashioned. All gyms do it this way nowadays. What's wrong with a male trainer? Male trainers are stronger and better at assisting. I barely managed to get him among the competition with others. You've got Luna here, and he protects me while you're away. I'm worried someone might touch me. Why don't you take Luna for a walk?" I was bewildered by my wife's one-sided order. After finishing her words, my wife, carrying a small bag and dressed in workout clothes, was about to go downstairs. At that moment, Luna suddenly ran up and put his two front paws on my wife's shoulders. My wife tried to push him down. The big dog got down, but right in front of me, he stuck his nose towards the center of my wife's workout clothes and sniffed hard. My wife quickly raised her hand to hit him, but just before striking, she softened her blow and lightly tapped his head. "I really don't like that, Luna." My wife refused my request to take Luna out. Luna whimpered sadly, and I felt very uncomfortable. I couldn't understand the situation. My wife was going out to meet a male trainer, and I was supposed to walk this dog? Angry, I called Luna to put on his leash, but this stubborn creature was so strong that he shook me off and ran away. I was almost bitten, but I couldn't hit him either. This dog was so big that I felt I couldn't win if we fought. Luna broke free and ran into the bathroom. He buried his nose in the trash and rummaged around, doing something disgusting and unhygienic. I angrily chased after him. Luna grabbed some tissue and started chewing on something he pulled from the trash. The sight disgusted me. I pried his mouth open and was shocked by what I saw. "What's this? Isn't this a condom?" While I stood there dumbfounded, Luna immediately swallowed it. I was in shock. I had been away for a month, so there was no way a used item like this could be in the house. The only person who came to mind was that male trainer. At that moment, I considered divorce. Filled with anger, I tried to calm down for a long time. As I gradually thought about the situation, I remembered that when I married my wife, she had no job and there was a big age difference. So I had put the house and assets in joint names to give her a sense of security. If I wanted to divorce, I would have to prove her wrongdoing, and I felt heartbroken and angry. But soon I decided to calmly gather evidence. With a heavy heart, I muzzled and leashed Luna, pretending to take him for a walk, and went to an electronics store to buy a camera. On the way back, I noticed that the gym my wife goes to was inside our apartment complex, and women from the complex often went to the gym, wearing tight workout clothes that accentuated their figures as they walked. The clothes were so tight you could clearly see their silhouettes. I glared at the gym with anger-filled eyes and then headed home with Luna. However, a problem occurred on the way. As I passed by the management office, I encountered a beautiful woman. She was wearing a cool dress and sandals that revealed her white insteps. Her toes were painted with striking purple nail polish. When she greeted me, Luna, as if stimulated by something, shook off my hand frantically and lunged at her. I froze on the spot. Fortunately, Luna had a muzzle on. If not, something terrible would have happened. Luna's huge body, like a black shadow, quickly pounced on her and knocked her down. A person and a dog fell to the ground, and amidst many people passing by, the dog thrust its head into her dress. The beauty, startled, hit Luna's head, but a weak woman couldn't overpower such a large dog. "Hey, don't just stand there. Come help me quickly." At her cry, I came to my senses and tried to pull Luna off, but the dog was too strong and wouldn't budge easily. I barely managed to pull Luna out of her dress, but before she could get up, Luna lunged again and grabbed her buttocks. The scene was truly infuriating. I picked up a stone from the ground and threw it, aiming at his head. Finally, Luna ran away with a painful whimper, with his tail tucked between his legs. "Are you all right?" I asked as I helped her up. The beauty was almost in tears from shock, but fortunately, she handled it relatively calmly. She was slightly out of breath, her face flushed. "Why does your dog behave like this? It's completely perverted. You should manage it better at home. If you don't manage him better, something worse could happen." Her words made me even more flustered. I recently adopted him, so I didn't realize he had this kind of behavior. "What did you just say? What happens if I don't manage it?" I asked, admitting that I had no experience in raising dogs. The beauty told me, "This guy is in heat. You need to firmly stop him a few more times. If not, he'll think you're encouraging him and keep behaving like this. I have a dog too, but mine doesn't act like this. I'm fine, so hurry and go take care of your dog." She gave me some advice and even comforted me by lightly patting my hand. I felt my anger rising. How is this any different from that male trainer? Thinking, they're all dogs, I immediately called my friend Jimmy. "Jimmy, don't you have a dog at your house too? We have a Doberman at our house. Can you come quickly and take him away?" Jimmy was married to my wife's close friend, and our families often spent time together. I had become close with Jimmy, and my wife and Jimmy's wife were even closer. When I asked him to take the dog away, he made a troubled face and said, "Bro, that dog was originally our dog. My wife gave it to you both. If I take it back, my wife will get angry again." I couldn't believe how afraid Jimmy was of his wife. "Jimmy, I can't believe your wife sent such a disgusting dog to our house. That dog just went up the skirt of a female employee at the management office. It did something incredibly disgusting. Take it away now. I don't want it." I shouted. Jimmy, looking flustered, said, "Bro, I guess my wife didn't manage it properly. I'll talk to my wife and have her send the dog to someone else." It was frustrating watching him worry about my wife's anger and fear his own wife's reaction. With no other choice, I took the dog and returned home. When I got home, I immediately installed a monitor. About an hour later, my wife came back with a flushed face after finishing her workout. Luna circled around her, sniffing eagerly as she came back. My wife hugged Luna and played with him briefly before letting him go. "What's wrong? Why are you so angry? Is it because I went out to exercise?" my wife asked. I tried to stay calm, but I was so angry I couldn't fully hide it. Then my wife smiled and said, "Don't be mad. My butt's even higher today, right? It's all because of you. The trainer is really good. I was able to complete many moves because he encouraged me. And I did more but exercises today. My butt's still trembling and I feel a bit numb. It really got much higher. Cheer up. My wife tried to calm my anger by telling me to feel her buttocks, but that made me even angrier. Is that male trainer being so nice just to touch you again? I blurted out, unable to contain my anger. My wife seemed to give up, realizing that no matter how angry I got, it was pointless. Believe whatever you want. Many women exercise like this, my wife said. Today marks exactly 1 month of working out. Tomorrow I need to re-register, and it's going to cost $850, my wife said. $850? Are you crazy? You have to pay that much? I shouted, jumping up from my seat. Why should I pay a man who's touching my wife? My wife laughed and said, that's the standard fee at our gym. Plus, he gave me a discount, so it's only $800. The remaining $50 is what my friends and I put together to invite him to dinner. He's been taking good care of us this past month. I cursed inwardly but held back to gather evidence. I gave my wife the money, pretending nothing was wrong. Around 9 p.m., I secretly followed my wife when I saw her going out to have dinner with the trainer. She went out wearing a white off-shoulder shirt, gold earrings, and lipstick. She walked, her hips swaying. Hiding at the entrance of the gym, I watched as my wife stood waiting in the gym lobby. After a while, the male trainer appeared. As another woman passed by, he gave her a light slap on the butt and said, "Grow your butt better." "Ha, thank you, trainer," the woman replied with a laugh. My wife grabbed the trainer's arm and said, "Let's go eat pork belly outside. I just worked out briefly, so I need to get home quickly. My husband is at home. His personality is really annoying." "All men get this jealous," the trainer replied. I stood frozen by the door as I saw my wife and the trainer come out, walking shoulder to shoulder. I tried to hide, but my wife recognized me right away. "What are you doing? What are you doing here?" my wife asked sharply. I said boldly, "I followed you because I was suspicious." "What's wrong with that? You're acting so insecure and provincial. What's wrong with me going out for some meat?" my wife said sharply. The male trainer was watching and smiling beside us. I bit my lip and stayed quiet. "I don't care what you think. Let's go home quickly." My wife said I was embarrassing and told me to go back quickly. I immediately retorted, "I didn't come here following you. I came because I have work at the company. I have to work overtime today. If you're embarrassed, do whatever you want from now on. I won't care." When I spoke softly, my wife didn't say anything more. But then the male trainer came up and said, "Sir, don't be angry. We're just having a meal, and you don't need to worry about your wife. I'll take good care of her during training. When I'm not training her, I'm busy with other women. Are you reassured now?" As my wife left with the male trainer, a few passing men looked at me with pitying eyes. I gritted my teeth and vowed to myself, once I get the evidence, I won't let this go. That night, I didn't go home but called Jimmy to grab drinks. He apologized for not managing the dog well during the year he had it, which is why he gave it to my wife. However, I wasn't in the mood to talk about the dog, so I just drank. Jimmy noticed that I wasn't in a good mood, so he got a hotel room for us and we each slept on separate beds. The next morning, I woke up late and rubbed my eyes as I checked my phone. There were a few notifications from the monitor, so I checked to see if there was any evidence. I saw my wife leaving the house at 9 a.m. It looked like she was going to the gym, but 15 minutes later, I heard the sound of our house door opening. Luna, who had been lying on the balcony, suddenly got up, wagging her tail and running towards the door. What happened next shocked me. Luna wrapped herself around the white legs in front of her, then followed those legs into the bathroom. The video quality was poor and the sound was unclear, but I could still make out the situation. Jimmy, hearing the sound, came over and was just as shocked. At that moment, I was so angry that the world seemed to be spinning. I thought my wife was cheating with the gym trainer, but realizing it was with a dog made me feel lower than dirt. Jimmy looked at me with very sympathetic eyes and said, "Bro, don't be too angry. Luna didn't originally behave like this, right? Don't be too upset. Should I take her away?" "Take her away? What do you mean take her away?" I exploded. "You're the one who sent this dog and made me like this, Jimmy. Is that what a friend does?" Jimmy couldn't handle my anger and ran away apologizing. I took a deep breath and held my phone, my heart aching terribly. If it had been with the trainer, I might have been able to handle it. But how could it be with a dog? I watched the video repeatedly, but realized that the monitoring position was wrong. I thought if my wife was cheating, it would be in the bedroom or on the sofa, not the bathroom. The bathroom was near the entrance, so the camera couldn't capture it clearly. All I could see was Luna running and the white legs. But those legs were definitely my wife's. I saw her change into her usual slippers at the entrance. And then Luna did her thing and then walked away without showing her face. No words were exchanged. After Luna came out of the bathroom, she stood in front of the door, and I saw the woman's hand go under her belly and pull something out. When I looked closer, I realized it was a condom. I don't remember how I got home, feeling dizzy and unable to think straight the whole way. After returning home, I adjusted the monitoring angle again, this time to include the bathroom. Around 1 p.m., my wife returned home. She was wearing a short skirt and mentioned that her gym membership had expired yesterday, so she had gone to the shopping mall instead. Her white legs swayed in front of me as I sat on the sofa, feeling powerless. My wife sat beside me and said angrily, "Honey, calm down. What did I do wrong to make you this angry?" She burst out laughing at my reaction. "You're acting like I did something awful. I really have no relationship with that trainer. He's not even handsome at all, and I don't care what he does with other women yesterday. He didn't even have the guts to do anything to me." As my wife kept talking about the male trainer, I couldn't stop seeing the image of Luna rushing toward her. The thought of it drained me completely. My wife's face turned red as she spoke gently, "Honey, why don't you hug me now that you're back? Even if we're an old married couple, I still have needs. I'm working out for you too. Look at the results of my workout." In fact, since I had returned from my business trip, there had been no physical contact with my wife, so she was dissatisfied. She tried to take my hand and make me feel her butt, which had firmed up from exercise, but I trembled and pulled away as if I were touching a bomb. My wife snapped, "If you think I'm having an affair with the trainer and that I'm dirty, just say it. Stop hiding it." Unable to hold back any longer, I stood up angrily and pointed at Luna. Luna wagged her tail, looking at me. She looked like she was part of the family, but it was too hard to say these things. Then I remembered I had to leave for another business trip that afternoon. "Honey, I'll deal with this later. I have a business trip this afternoon." I packed my bags and left. "If you leave, don't ever come back," my wife shouted angrily. Hearing those words made me think I really might never come back. My wife gestured to call Luna. Luna ran to her, wagging her tail and licking her hands, chest, and legs. My wife hugged Luna and said, "Luna, let's get along well, just the two of us. You need to take good care of mommy." I decided to stay at a hotel, pretending I was on a business trip. During that time, I planned to monitor my wife to see if anything else happened. For 3 days, my wife behaved normally, and there was no inappropriate behavior with Luna. Things changed one day when Jimmy brought beer to the hotel. I saw the house door open again after my wife had left. Luna jumped towards the white legs, and I could see a condom in those fingers. I realized that my wife was taking Luna to the bathroom whenever she needed to. Just then, the screen went black and the monitoring stopped. It seemed the Wi-Fi signal at the complex had cut off. It happens sometimes, but today it was at the worst possible moment. Damn it, I just had the evidence. I was filled with anger. Jimmy tried to calm me down. "Bro, calm down. Even though the internet is cut off, the camera is still working. Let's go home and check the memory card." I pushed Jimmy aside and ran home. Jimmy followed, worried that my anger might lead to a serious confrontation with my wife. "Bro, calm down. This is a family issue, so be careful. Don't be too aggressive." I figured there was no need to hide anymore. I knew everything. "Jimmy, I can't take this any longer. This time, I'm getting the evidence for sure." I ran home, bursting through the door. My wife was startled inside. "Honey, weren't you supposed to be on a business trip?" "What business trip? I used it as an excuse to catch your betrayal. I've got all the evidence now." I cried out in pain. "Honey, what are you talking about?" my wife said angrily, stomping her foot. I took the memory card out of the monitor and plugged it into the computer. My wife trembled with anger when she realized I had installed cameras. "So you've been spying on me? I can't do this anymore. Let's get a divorce," my wife cried, sobbing. I was filled with rage. "Do you think you have the right to demand a divorce from me? Think about what you've done." My wife kept demanding a divorce while Jimmy tried to mediate. "Bro, hold on. Why don't you both calm down and talk? I'll be leaving now. Don't fight." I stopped Jimmy. "Don't go. Stay here. Check the evidence before you go." Jimmy hesitated, confused, but I calmly turned on the computer to check the memory card. My wife continued to be angry, but I ignored it and focused on verifying the evidence. My wife and I shouted in unison, "Jimmy, stay right there." My wife pulled Jimmy's arm and said, "Stay still. Honey, let's see what this person recorded." I also sneered and said, "Yeah, what's there to be afraid of? We're the main characters and we're not scared. So what are you afraid of?" Jimmy stood there with a bewildered expression. Angrily, I immediately played the recording. Indeed, at 9:40, the door opened and Luna could be seen jumping from the balcony. Someone's hand led Luna to the bathroom, and everyone witnessed the scene from a visible position. Shockingly, the person who came to our house was Jimmy's wife. Jimmy's face turned pale, almost green. "Jimmy, calm down." "I didn't know either," I said, flustered. My wife, overcome with shock, said, "Honey, how could this happen?" Jimmy cried, "What did I do to deserve this? I can't live like this." He finally broke down in tears, and my wife and I were at a loss for words as we tried to console him. After Jimmy left, my wife and I exchanged looks. We never expected this. How could this happen? My wife was still in shock. Weeks passed, and my wife heard that Jimmy and his wife had divorced. So, my wife decided to call her friend to comfort her. Jimmy worked long hours at a construction site, leaving early and coming home late, rarely returning. When he came home, his married life remained strained. As time passed, Jimmy's wife grew more dissatisfied, and after stumbling upon videos online, she developed strange ideas. Jimmy's wife bought Luna, but as time went on, Jimmy felt something was off. Eventually, after much insistence from Jimmy, his wife gave Luna to my wife. Jimmy's wife and mine had been close friends since childhood, and she had a key to our house. She took advantage of this access to spend time with Luna at our house. Jimmy struggled with sexual dysfunction, which affected his ability to maintain a normal marriage. When I learned this, I found it hard to blame him. I could only sigh. That's the end of the video. If you liked it, please subscribe, and I'll share more stories soon.